Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, you're audible and we can see your screen.
Okay. I'll be presenting our BEAMP challenge statement. So specifically, we'll look at how IFC requirements under Connect X impact BIM processes and how we envision a simpler and more effective workflow with the help of innovative solutions. With the introduction of Connect X and IFC requirements, the BIM process has become increasingly complex. At present, architects are required to manually reclassify and remodel elements into IFC parameters for even very basic elements like walls, doors, and floors. This means double work to us and it increases the risk of human error and increase our resources and man hours. On top of that, the single source of truth in BIM is compromised because we are duplicating data for compliance submissions. So our vision is different. Instead of exporting models into IFC parameters, we imagine a more simplified BIM process where compliance checks can happen directly within the native BIM model. So think of it this way, the Connect X automated checker would run inside the native model with rules applied natively. So architects, engineers, and authorities can all work on the same data without any duplication. This means reduced workload, fewer errors, and more alignment with the single source of truth principle. Importantly, compliance can be verified early in the design stage before submissions are made, so fewer iterations are needed. So this brings us to our challenge statement. How might we automate the mapping of BIM elements without IFC SG parameters to create an AI-driven solution within modeling software that automatically checks building designs against multi-agency Singapore regulatory codes during the design phase? The key outcomes we are looking for is an API or plugin that must integrate with Revit software, execution of rule-based compliance check, in-model operation without requiring IFC export or remodeling. An example of a similar plugin is Smart Review that is done overseas. So to test this, we will be providing a 30,000 square meter GFA nursing home project as a test bed. The following is envisioned. For walls, the input will be fire rating and wall type, and it should check fire compartmentation and buildability score. For doors, we will input fire rating and door sizes, and it should check fire compartmentation, fire escape, and buildability score. Rooms, we will input room name, area, floor finish, ceiling finish, which should check refuse output, occupancy load, and buildability score. For floors, we will input floor slab fire rating and it should check fire compartmentation. For ceiling, we will input ceiling fire rating and it should check fire compartmentation. Windows, we will input window size and it should check the unprotected opening and buildability score. The sanitary facilities should check the number of sanitary facility in compliance to authority requirements. So how will we support? We will share structured parameter mapping for input testing. We'll work together to define the regulatory clauses from government agencies for the output, and we will join in structured user testing and refinement session. We are also prepared to dedicate time to help bring this from proof of concept to commercialization. With this partnership, we can reshape the digital asset delivery for the built environment, making regulatory compliances smoother, faster, and more reliable for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Waiter, for the presentation. We have a few questions. We have a question from the floor for you. Bimeko asks, if we can map the IFC data reliably back to the native model, Is the use of IFC as the data model for automated checks still viable for Forum? Or is native BIM support a red line that cannot be crossed?
So we in our office we use Revit as our main software for modeling. So the way that is being structured now would be from the Revit model we model already, and then we have to change all the families to IFC parameters to export out as IFC data, as IFC model. So I'm not sure how it would be in the other loop where it's from a IFC data back to the native model. Maybe you can elaborate how does this work?
Okay. So while we wait for other questions to come in, I also jotted down a couple of questions. Um, when you're mapping native BIM elements to regulatory logic, how flexible does the mapping need to be to handle variations in things like naming conventions or parameters or modeling styles?
I believe it's the plugin, how it reads our data to create the output. So we are open to reformatting our families as required by the plugin or the software being used so that it helps to create the output required. So we can modify the way we model our families for the purpose of testing.
And secondly, how should updates and regulations be handled? Do you expect the tool to include things like versioning or policy updates or adaptive learning as the regulations change?
At the moment, because um, we are we are not exposed to such high capacity software. We are looking at a very more newer kind of way of doing it to read our families, or we are not, in another way to say it, we are not exposed to such software currently. So we are open to how it can be like.
Okay. Uh, so Bimeko has come back to comment and ask as well. There may be a way to link the IFC back to the element ID in Revit, but we need further investigation for this. Um, okay. Would you be open to investigating the relationship between IFC and Revit?
We are open to investigating, but the premise of the challenge statement is that we want to reduce the errors of doing the IFC to Revit translation, reduce the amount of man hours and the amount of resources required for this translation between IFC and Revit.
Okay. We have another question from Anderson at NTU, and he asks, do you use Revit and ACC for BIM modeling? What is the outcome format that you might want to see, and how would you evaluate the outcome?
Okay, I'll answer the first question first. Do you use Revit and ACC for BIM modeling? Yes. What is the outcome format you might want to see from this challenge statement you mean? So we wish to see inbuilt plug-in automated checker that we can do in the native model itself.
Okay. And then we have a question from Adrian. Adrian asks, is AI a mandatory component of the solution, or is the core of the needed solution a rule-based checking system?
At the moment, I think a rule-based checking system.
Okay, so AI is not mandatory, but
Yes, it's not mandatory.
okay. And would you like to share anything about the evaluation of the outcome?
The evaluation will be based on the ability to meet our checking. So, for example, I'll go back to the proof of concept. So, for example, with our model given with the fire rating input and the wall types input, is the outcome of checking fire compartmentation met or the outcome of being able to calculate the buildability score being met? So these are the evaluation criteria that we will be looking at.